we felt when we were, last September when we did our first walk, the three of us were literally standing there. We released Great Divide online and raised money with that song. And we had the idea, let's do these walks and find a way, how can we connect with one another? How can we get together and understand simple actions and talk about Tom's shoes? And we thought, you know what? We're going to walk outside, and it's going to be 3 people walking down the street. Yeah. And who knows? I mean, obviously, we saw there were already people that were joining us, but at some level, you're like, you know what? People don't have, you guys don't have to follow us. Just because you think, oh, I like that band, I want to go see their show, doesn't mean you got to show up, take your shoes off, walk a mile. Signs we've seen, people have bought shoes, people have traveled. You guys are the greatest fans in the entire world. You're incredible. And this isn't even about whether you guys are supporting what Hanson does as a band. This is really the fact that every one of us in the end are individuals. We all are thinking, well, we don't have that much stroke, or we don't really have that much power to make a difference. And for that matter, I'm really busy. Life's hard. Why should I worry about Africa? Or why should I try and be a do-gooder? But this is really, it's a completely different level. It's a different challenge. We as a generation of people are completely underestimated. And at some level, we have to decide we want to raise the bar. It's not about raising the bar and all of us trying to become, like I said, to quit our jobs and become humanitarians. It's about all of us looking at what we do, the power that we have, the stroke that we have, the influence that we have on one another, to become this greater group of people. Looking at, we talk about taking our shoes off. You got to take your shoes off sometimes. Sometimes you just have to recognize how lucky you are. You have to recognize the power that you have to make a difference by seeing that this thing that you never think about, like a pair of shoes, it's like that this is actually something that can change a life. So one of the things somebody was asking me before was why shoes? What's the point of walking without shoes? Can you imagine what it's like to try and go get a job when you're struggling to pay for your 3 kids, you have AIDS or HIV, you're trying to figure out how do I get a better life, how do I make a difference for my kids, how do I try and break the cycle of poverty, and you walk in and you're wearing no shoes, and that, Africa or not, everybody is asking, well, okay, this person's shoeless, or this person can't represent themselves well. All these different basic things that the same desires are in people living in a village, on a rural part of Africa. The same desires to succeed, the same desires to be great, the same desires to care for their family, the same desire to wake up every day with pride. When we sat there after the tour last year, and we delivered the thousands of shoes that were bought by individuals, one by one, we went to these little villages in an area called Igwaguma, and we were up in the mountains, sitting with kids, giving away shoes, putting them on their feet, the first pair of new shoes they'd had. And we finished, and there was so much joy. This is where it's going to get sappy. But there was just so much joy erupting from these kids because they'd never been kids at anything. No one had ever bent down on their knees and said, here's a gift for you, it's new. No one's ever used it before, it's yours. And all of a sudden, somebody grabbed what looked like a paper bag. It was a rubber ball that had been wrapped in rubber bands and covered in plastic bags that they'd made into a soccer ball. And we went up to the hill, and all of a sudden there were these, 25 9-year-olds making us keel over like we were going to die because we were trying to play soccer with them. And we realized how old we were. But it's the same thing. They still want to walk outside and play. They still want to run around on the street and have a good time. They still want to be kids. And a whole generation of kids is never going to be a kid. A generation of 9-year-olds raising their 2-year-old, 5-year-old brothers or sisters. Born with a disease that gives them an age expectancy of 3 years old if they're lucky. A lot of those kids that are born with AIDS. So we all have to ask ourselves, are any of these things a problem? Do we really care? You guys, that's up to you guys. What the real question is, what I found so challenging about the decision to look at Africa and ask these bigger questions of myself is, one, can I really make a difference? The answer is yes. It is not about you trying to go do this on your own. If you buy a pair of shoes, if you order a pair of Great Divide Toms, or if you go online and buy